All right. Do you think Trudeau will be remembered for anything else except invoking the Emergencies Act?
Well, no, I don't think he will be remembered for anything else other than the Emergencies Act and how he, just the narcissistic attitude, his ego took over or hold of citizens, and the amount of he's a tyrant is what I would like to refer him to. He's going to be remembered for that. People are going to know, and his legacy is damaged forevermore because of this. It's been damaged for the last 3 years, especially. His sentiment towards the people's sentiment towards him has been his polling is in the garbage. And unfortunately, they found a cue here through the U.S. presidency to try and gain some points in Canadian, popularity in the Liberal Party because of their demonization using the media once against Donald Trump and these potential tariffs. And I like it to remind people that the carbon tax goes up April 1st, and a lot of people don't seem to be concerned about that. But we're concerned about something happening in another country right now. If we had leadership in this country, like what the U.S. does, and what Donald Trump cares about the United States, if Justin Trudeau cared enough about Canada, we wouldn't be in this position right now with Donald Trump.
Anybody who has to use carbon. And so it's going to be corporate. And he was asked, well, isn't there going to be a trickle down effect? Aren't they going to just pass that on to the consumer? And Mark Carney says, oh, don't worry. What about, and he said, well, what about steel? And of course, this was before the 25% tariff on steel was declared by Donald Trump on everybody in the world. And Mark Carney's response is mind-boggling because he doesn't say, well, that's going to be a problem. He says, who uses steel anymore? And I said, this is a globalist who obviously is completely out of touch with not just ordinary people, but reality. And does he think we live in the Stone Age again? This is an age of steel. There is steel everywhere. Mark Carney doesn't seem to realize his car is constructed of steel, that the subways, the buses, skyscrapers, your stove, your fridge, there's steel everywhere. And Mark Carney just says, no problem if it's trickled down because we don't use the stuff anymore. But what really worries me is he's talking about this tariff, this carbon tariff. Now, do you not think this is going to cause companies to say, the hell with doing business in Canada? Let's go to the States where there's no carbon tax and there's no carbon tariff, and we're going to do it there. So we could see a mass exodus of business from this country, and it's going to be bad enough. But the auto sector is going to be completely subsumed. But is this guy living in the real world?
He's more of the same, and he's always, I think, more of the same. They just found a new face to brandish for the Liberal Party of Canada to make people in Canada believe. Remember, this is another point I wanted to raise too. Remember years ago when Justin Trudeau came out and said, no, the carbon tax has nothing to do with the inflation costs on grocery prices. That's greedy corporations. Do you know how many people I have had conversations with in this country that think that because the loaf of bread is worth $2 more in the grocery store, that's because of greedy corporation and not because the federal government taxing the living daylights out of Canadians. That is a direct result of the carbon tax on inflation in this country. People wonder why they go to the grocery store right now and they can't afford half of the food that's in the grocery store. It's because of government over regulation and tax. Every time they up that carbon price, I have to up my freight rates in order to transport the things to the farmers. That's what I specialize in, is agriculture hauling. We haul everything from the combines to the sprayers to the air seeders that put the crop in the ground. When my cost goes up, I pass that cost off to my customer. That customer passes his cost off to that customer, and it's a trickle down effect. And a lot of people, they sleep and eat and breathe what the media tells them in this country as 100% facts. And I'm scared for the future of Canada when I watch, legacy media have such a horrible effect on Canadians.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Don't listen to Justin Trudeau. We need this kind of attitude in Canada right now because, let me tell you, Justin Trudeau will fight tooth and nail to stay as leader of the Liberal Party and as Prime Minister of Canada, and he will use every trick in the Liberal handbook to do that. So we have to be vigilant, and we have to have perseverance to fight this battle to the end. As I've been saying since this station, went on the air. We need to resolve to resist. And we need to fight for our free speech and our democratic rights to say what we believe, to speak, as John Diefenbaker said. And don't forget that t-shirt that's available out there in the store. I speak as a free Canadian, free to speak, free to believe in what I choose. And Justin Trudeau is not going to interfere with that. Thanks for being a part of the KRAYDEN'S Right Resistance, and we'll see you again soon. So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need a political change, but we also need to resolve to resist.